Hi, I'm Colin.
I'm James.
And welcome to Let's Talk Retro. And what have you been up to recently then, James?
I have been busy and making an arcade cabinet, and today I'm going to show you guys everything about it.
That sounds good. Let's take a look. So, like you said, you've been busy making this arcade cabinet recently, and I know some of our subscribers might have seen, if they follow us on Instagram, you put some pictures of it on Instagram.
Yeah.
So they might have already seen what it looks like to an extent. So why did you actually decide to make an arcade cabinet?
Well, I made one years ago, and it was sort of getting a bit shabby now.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was a main cabinet, and I hadn't really played on it much lately, but I thought, I reckon I can do a much better job second time round. So I thought, yeah, let's give it a go.
Okay, so what we thought we'd do first of all, we'd save you all wait until the end to see what it looks like. We thought we'd show some footage of it playing, some pictures of it now that it's actually finished, so that you can all see what we're actually talking about. So let's take a look at that now. Right, so that's what it looks like, and it looks pretty good to me. I think
I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I think you've done a pretty good job of that.
Thank you.
So I think the first thing I want to know, and perhaps other people watching are still thinking, is what's actually running this thing. I mean, I know you could have a PC in there with like MAME on it. You could have Hyperspin on a PC on there. You could have a Raspberry Pi run an emulation station or something like that. So yeah, what is actually running it? Is it any of those?
No, you're right. There's loads of options. My previous cab ran MAME and it ran GameX, a front end. Obviously, people go with Hyperspin, like you say, but you can buy like a set, like a SD card they do on eBay now, a USB stick, and there's a few people that sell hard drives with the ROMs, and you just buy the hard drive and set it in. But the thing about Hyperspin is there's loads of setup and things like that.
Yeah.
This time I didn't really want any kind of setup. Just kind of either buy something so it's ready to go, or something fairly easy to set up.
Right.
This time I went with a Jammer all-in-one box. So it's kind of like a multi-cart.
Right.
But
so a Jammer board is like the boards that the arcade machines run off anyway. So it's like a multi-cart version of one of those.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So it's a box called a Pandora's box.
Right.
It's made in China. They're up to version 4. There's 2 versions of version 4, but they're different colours. And we'll put a picture up now to show you what it looks like.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's a Jammer compatible box that originally is designed for people that have got old Jammer cabinets or Jammer cabinets in arcades, and they just want to plug in a multi-cart to give people different games to play.
Yeah.
If they're bored with the same one, so with Jammer, it's just interchangeable.
Yeah.
And it's a
so it's basically
standard.
so it's basically just like sticking the cartridge into a console sort of thing, and then you've got no setup. You've got all your videos are there of the games and the menus and all the images and pictures and everything. So there's no messing about.
No, the great thing is once you've got your jammer cable connected and wired up, it runs on 12 volt and a 5 volt as well that you need. And once that's all connected, you just literally switch it on and it loads into a menu. There's next to no setup. There's button tests you can do and other stuff that we're going to later. So it is as close to plug and play as you can get.
And there's no PC involved at all.
No, so in a way you're saving. I know most people with arcade cabinets who use an old PC. Yeah. You don't have to go flash, do you, with arcade emulation? So this, you just the boxes you can get relatively cheap. All the bits relatively cheap. Yeah, so it's like a plug and play arcade cab.
So how many games are actually on this?
It's 645, I think.
Right. And
they seem to bring a new box out like every year.
Yeah. So is there a disadvantage that you can't add any more games to it, or can you add more to it?
I've seen online there's hacks. People have hacked the box and uploaded their own. Right. I think it runs. They hide everything obviously because it's all custom front end on the Pandora. But I think I've read online that it runs like Final Burn Alpha or something like that. Someone will hopefully leave a comment or correct me. But it runs an emulator with just they've made their own front end for it. Right. So I've seen a video where someone's hacked it and put their own on. But I haven't got into that yet. I'm just sort of playing through what's on it, and there's so much on it.
So a while before I'm bored. You going.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of good stuff.
So that's what's running the show. Then there's Pandora's box and a jammer board, sort of multi-cart.
Yep.
So the next thing I wouldn't have a clue where to start is actually building the cabinet itself. How did you go about doing that?
So it's all made of mostly MDF and some sort of timber work, studding for support and things like that. But yeah, essentially it's MDF. What I did first of all is I got the artwork, which is normally the other way around for main cabinets. You do that last, but did the artwork first. Then to get the dimensions and the sort of curve and everything else that I wanted, because otherwise normally you'd be sat with a bit of MDF trying to work out with your rubber or following plans online. So what I did is I printed out the artwork and I stuck it all together. So it was loads of sheets of A4 and I printed it out and stuck it all together so it all lined up. And then I stuck it on a sheet of MDF and I drew around it. So essentially I made a template for the sides and I drew around it and then cut it out with a jigsaw.
And so did you put two bits of MDF together so they were identical, or did you do them separate?
No, I actually did, for the highly skilled. I'm not massively skilled at DIY or woodwork. I get by, and I think I've got a lot better than I used to be sort of 10 years ago. But no, I did it separately. I moved the template, put it on the next sheet and cut round that. And then once I had them both cut out, I then sort of put them next to each other and just sanded them just so they're about the same. It doesn't. It looks better if they're clear and identical, but it's not the end of the world if they're not, because you've got the controls in between the two. So. And
then I suppose it's measuring and cutting the right size back and the other bits for the front.
Yeah. Once I had the artwork and the template done, I knew the height, what the height had to be. And once you've got the height and you're happy with it, then you can work out. Yeah, you cut the sides. You can work out how tall the back needs to be, and then just go from there. So you just.
And the same for your control panel.
Yeah, once you've got the height, then you work out what you want for the width. There's templates online that you can get for controls if you want. I didn't want it to be too massive, too wide, and take up loads of space. But I think it came out all right, and it's just about right. But some people do like a single player. I thought no, it's going to be based on Street Fighter 2. Great game.
It's 2-player.
Everyone loves that. Yes, two. You can't have a single.
No,
it just looks silly.
Yeah.
So no, got a template for where the holes and everything would go for the joystick and the buttons, and worked out the width and cut that out.
Yeah. So then, did you put it all together then, or did you suppose you got the artwork printed? Did you? I know you actually got it out to sort of size.
Yeah,
it a
so there was
bit.
loads of work to do on the artwork, wasn't it? Getting it right, but
and you got that printed. And you got it printed onto sort of sticky plastic.
Yeah,
sheets,
vinyl. Yeah, so
sheet.
got that sorted, got it printed, and
you got that done online. If I
yeah. There was an online printers that we used that were really good. Did a good job, really quick, and
so was it? You had to cut the stickers out. You had to cut them to shape again, I suppose, and then you had to actually stick them onto the actual wood. Was that hard, or was that?
That came obviously later on in the build when you're almost finished. Yeah, so you got everything ready. But yeah, no, essentially just laid the cabinet on its side, and then put the artwork on.
Did you? So you put it all together.
Yeah, that was the last thing, almost the last thing to do. Put the artwork on, and then cut it out just with a really sharp Stanley knife to cut around the. When you did the artwork, you made sure there was a bleed, so there was so the artwork was going to be bigger than the actual wood, so so that there wouldn't be any gaps or funny edges or whatever. So you just carefully trim the artwork after, make sure there's no bubbles, and that gives it the look and the finish that ended up with.
So the stage you're really at then, you've got like this main shell made. You've got to obviously put in, I suppose, a monitor.
Yeah, so it runs on a PC, just a LCD monitor. But nowadays, most monitors you see on eBay or whatever, they're the 16:9 aspect ratio. Yeah. But arcade cabinets are 4:3.
Yeah.
So you luckily I already had a monitor, but if you're going to have a go and make one, then you need to find as big as you can get, really, a 4:3 ratio, and then get that from eBay or Gumtree or something. You might know someone that's chucking out an old monitor, but you don't tend to get them that often anymore because no one buys that size. But
so you've got to sort of mount that somehow into the actual cabinet shell then, yeah?
That for me that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
So what I did is I took the casing off the monitor. It was originally silver, and I painted it because I didn't want it to show up, so I painted it all black.
Yeah.
And I took the casing off as well because I didn't want it visible or any gap between. I wanted the screen to just be just there, so you were none the wiser.
Yeah.
And so that when it was switched off, it would just kind of have an all black effect.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So I took the case off the monitor. That was really easy. You just got to obviously make sure it's not plugged in.
Yeah.
And then I put the because I knew what the width was and the height. I just basically cut a piece of MDF, worked out the center, and then put the monitor center on it. Drew around the monitor to cut out the hole, so you can see the screen. And then I just basically used strips of wood that mounted very close to the monitor that held it in, and it's done a good job. It holds it all nice and tightly in place.
All clever stuff. Well impressed. I wouldn't know where to start with doing stuff like this. So you've got to a stage then. You got your monitor in, you got your shell. Did you put controls in next?
Yeah. So then you've got to go on to your controls. I had all the holes cut out, so that was handy. You can get kits online where you can get 2 joysticks and all the buttons that you need. So I bought one of those kits from a company online, and buttons really simple to install. They just push into the hole. You've got a little nut that tightens up. The switches push in on the bottom, and you connect the wires up to that later.
The wires come with it as well.
You get so with the whole idea was to try and make it as easy and sort of plug and play as possible, because I just thought with the first one messing about and getting these keyboard encoders and stuff like that you can buy iPacks, and there's like a cheap Chinese version so obviously pushing button A or whatever mimics X or something on the PC or whatever, or the Raspberry Pi or whatever. So it's just a case of using the jammer cable. So with the jammer all-in-one, the Pandora's box, that runs off a jammer cable, and the cables are just coloured, and you link up the end of the cable to up on the joystick or down, or button A or B or C or D or what else, start or credit. And once those are all connected up, that's the wire. So you haven't got to be an electronic genius.
No, it's just basically just plug everything
and play,
in. And there's no soldering or anything there. It just actually pushes in.
There's. I mean, if you the cables unfortunately can be a bit small, but if you did break one, then it'd just be a case of soldering that on, or cut it, and you crimp. Like if you've ever fitted like a car stereo or whatever, just buy the kits that a lot of it had crimps on anyway. But if there was one you needed to, you just get like a.
And I remember you saying when you were getting the buttons, you wanted a certain type of button, didn't you?
That's it. Yeah.
But it had to have a slightly.
So if you're going to do this online, they sell hundreds, thousands, millions of buttons, every colour, every style that you want. But generally, the cheaper buttons are flat.
Yeah.
And they don't have that kind of arcade feel that you get. They're kind of like a cheapy kind of joysticky feel. So the buttons I bought are concave, so they've got a slight. Obviously, everyone knows what that means, but they've got a slight curve in. So as your fingers on it, it sort of rests better, and it feels just more. It just feels more professional and better for gameplay. So well, I'm remembering because I nearly bought the wrong ones, and they're a bit more than concave buttons, which is a pain, but it's worth it.
Right, so we're at a stage then where we've got the controls in, the monitors in, and it's all sort of more built. So was it putting in the Pandora's box bit next? Or? So
I made a shelf to go on the inside. I wanted it to be within reach. I didn't want to have like have to undo the screen or undo the front to be able to do this, that, the other, or change a part, or the whole idea is try and be as easy, accessible, plug and play. Like if a Pandora's box, the next one comes out, and I want to get that, I can I can swap it over in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
If that. So I made it so that they have it obviously on arcade machines. You've got a coin door where originally you put your money in and it registers a credit and all that. So I didn't set that up on this, but there's all the leads and everything, so you can do. So you could have it. So you push the reject button and that gives you a credit, or you could, even if you wanted to, you could put a pound in and it gives you a credit. But you can set this all up in the Pandora's box on how many credits a coin gives you.
Oh right, yeah.
So you can set the whole kind of bookkeeping. It's
quite versatile then.
Yeah, it's all designed really to be a plug and play for a standard arcade cabinet. So essentially, what I've done is made a Jammer cabinet copy.
Yeah.
And so it runs on a power pack to run the Pandora's box, and also I wanted some speakers, obviously for the sound, and an amp.
So you've got to have an amp, yeah.
The Pandora's box has got a headphone output. It's 3.5 mil, so standard headphone jack, but it doesn't. It's very low powered. So ideally you want to run it through an amp, and the amp I chose is they're 10 a penny on eBay.
All right.
I think it was about £8, and it's a 12-volt amp, and the Pandora's box runs off a 12-volt power supply. That drives the Pandora's box.
And the speakers. I suppose you've got the speakers mounted.
Yeah, so they're mounted at the top. I've bought some covers that are cheap just to go over the speakers.
Yeah.
They're actually arcade speakers in there, but they're not great. They're not massively wattage.
Yeah.
But you can, if you want, you can put fancy speakers in if you can afford it.
So they're connected up to the amp.
Yeah, they run off the amp. Just normal cables like a home hi-fi would.
Yeah.
And then you go to connection-wise, you go headphone out on the Pandora's box into the input on the amp.
Yeah.
So if you're going to buy an amp, make sure you get one that's got a 3.5 mil input.
Yeah. And
you can change the bass and the treble and the volume control. So I thought if you want to play it late at night, you don't want to wake the neighbours up or or anyone else. So I thought have a volume control, nice and easy to get to. So open the coin door and you can turn it up and down, or without sound.
Yeah, so that's what you were saying. The coin door you've left, so you can open it up.
Yeah.
And then you can get into it. And you get to Pandora's box. You can get to the amp.
Yeah.
And everything's just there on the shelf, just inside there at the front. Really easy
power
to get
switch.
to.
Yeah. Just open up the coin door, button inside. That kicks everything in. all off the same power. Tell you what's good as well, the amp I chose, it's got a headphone as well on the front.
Right.
So if you want to listen to headphones,
you could have
you
headphones
can.
as well.
And of course, plug in headphones in or cut the sound from the speakers. So,
yeah, so if
so
you've
that
got
was
like
another
a room
handy.
full of people and you don't want it, they're watching a film or something
Yeah.
over on the other side of the room and you want to be
Yeah.
playing on that, you can just plug some headphones in and away you go. So that's all really good. Yeah, so sounds like a really good sort of idea, really good sort of build. I noticed on the back of it, then you had like a special, just like almost like a kettle plug to
that's
plug
it.
in.
Yeah,
You built that into the actual back.
yeah. I think it's called an IEC plug or ICC, something like that. Yeah, it's basically you buy the sockets on eBay, or there's loads of places, electrical places will do it. And I wanted it so I didn't want cables coming out of it as such. Like the first cabinet I made, being sort of younger and not just having a go rather than trying to do a proper job.
Yeah.
I think I just cut a big hole and fed it. It was the same plug that was all wired up to the extension lead that was basically mounted inside it.
Right. Yeah.
So this time I wanted an actual proper push-in plug. So just bought that. It's really easy to connect up. You just crimp cables to the end. So yeah, you plug in the pack. Everyone's got kettle leads, probably laying somewhere in a box.
That's what you've got, just the standard one of those for the plug. Yeah.
Nothing special. Just obviously plug it in the wall, plug it in the back of the cabinet, and you can leave it there all day long, all year long if you want. And then when you're ready to play, just turn on the connector inside, and there's a fuse inside as well, so it protects the everything inside if there's any trouble. Yeah.
So again, so we've got it. It's all built now, sort of where we're talking. You've got your monitoring, your controls in, your speakers, and Pandora's box was running the whole show, sort of thing.
That's it.
So I suppose you've got some casters or some wheels on the bottom to move it about if you want to move it about.
So early on, with making the other cabinet I made years ago, I did want to be able to move it about, and they're essential really. So I fitted some casters on the bottom. Get the height right and just make sure, because it weighs quite a bit. This is quite a bit of wood.
Yeah,
and
it's quite tall.
Yeah, so you don't want this thing to be sat somewhere, or you might have to move house, or occasionally you might have to move it to clean. So got some nice casters on. So you can.
You don't want to top it over or anything. You want some pretty sturdy casters on the bottom of it.
And I've got some casters fitted. So if I need to move it, it's pretty easy to do. So.
Yeah, so I think that's more or less, we've talked through most of it, I think. I don't know if there's anything else you think that we've missed out.
Yeah, let us know what you think of the cabinet.
I'm sure if
you've got any questions.
Yeah, any questions, just fire away, because we've probably missed something out that we haven't mentioned, that someone's thinking, oh, how do you do that? But I mean, how long did the build take you then altogether, from start to finish, do you reckon?
Quite a while, over several weekends.
Yeah, several weekends.
One of the things I will mention is the T-moulding.
No, I was just going to say there's something, the nice bit around the edging of it that's finished, gives it a real good professional look. I was just thinking of that, we hadn't mentioned that. I remember you bought loads of that, you said.
Yeah, so that, unfortunately, I spent a fortune on T-moulding, because it's you can get it in the UK, but there was several companies I was looking at, and they just didn't have the colour I wanted. So I went with some stuff from America. And it's like nice purple colour. I think it matches really well.
Yeah, it looks good. It's really cool.
And so that slots into grooves on the outside of the cabinet. So when you make your sides and your top and your bottom and your control panel or whatever, you have to actually cut a groove into the MDF for the moulding to go in later.
It just pushes in.
Yeah, it sort of pushes in. You tap it in with a mallet. Yeah. But if you're going to do that, use like something,
a little bit of wood or something. Just
or like I used like a tea towel, I think it was, and just knocked it in, and that holds it in straight enough. And when you're cutting your groove, you just got to make sure that you keep it as straight as you can.
And it gives you a nice edging all the way around. Around the
finishes
actual
it off.
Cabinet. Yeah.
And before I stuck the artwork on, I painted all the outside anyway. So if for any reason it didn't quite match up, you wouldn't just see MDF. Of course, you can't paint it once the artwork's on. So that's an important tip as well. Give it a good coat of paint and sand it down as well. Sand it down lightly, because you don't want bits in the artwork. So you just stick in the vinyl on the wood. You don't want little bits of stuff because it spoils the finish. So just take your time if you're going to make one and
enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Yeah, and then obviously play it once it's finished.
Yeah. That's the sort of thing I probably do. I spend ages building it, and I just never have time to actually sort of get around to playing it. But, so so what's your favourite game on it? What have you played on it the most?
Street Fighter. Yeah. I mean the Pandora's box has got so many versions of. I think it's got a page on all the. It's got you flick through the games through pages, and I think there's a page or at least half a page of. There's got to be 8 different versions of Street Fighter. But there's all sorts on there. But yeah, Street Fighter's been a Simpsons. That's always good fun. So played through that first time, and there's so much stuff. I haven't played half of it, but my go-to game is just.
I'm gonna have to try and get around to have a go on it. Yeah, look forward to doing that at some point. So so if you've got any questions, anything that we've not sort of mentioned, or something you want to ask, don't be frightened, just put like a question in the comments, and we always try to get back to people. Always try to comment back, don't we? If anyone leaves a comment, we don't just sort of ignore you. So if you've got any questions, ask James. We're going to probably leave you. We've got some more footage of games running on it and some more pictures of it, so we'll leave like another little montage of clips of the whole cabinet again for them to have another look at. And but basically I think that's about it for this video on how to build an arcade cabinet. I didn't have a clue. And but you've done a really good job on that, mate.
Thank you. I'm really happy. It's turned out well, and thanks to everyone who's supported the project on Instagram with their comments saying that it's coming on well, and thanks to everyone. So enjoy, and thanks for watching.
And so until next time, James, what they got to do?
Keep it retro.
As always, guys, keep it retro. We'll see you again very soon.
Box 4. 4.